Hey, everybody. What's up? It's Amy from Life Redesigned, where we grow through what we go through. Hey, sorry I'm a couple minutes late hopping in here, but having some internet trouble. It's crazy over here. I don't know why, because the weather is beautiful. All right, so let's get going. Let's talk about sales, baby. Oh, yeah, I'm so excited to talk about sales. All of you know that sales is one of my favorite things to talk about, so let's get right to it. Let's talk about why we need them. Okay. That although this may seem extremely obvious of why we do need sales, we do need them for a few really solid and obvious reasons. We need sales to run our business. We need sales to generate money. We need sales because sales is the beginning of success. Sales is the beginning part of us taking action to grow our businesses, to grow our brand, and to do all the amazing things that we want to do with what it is that our goals include. Okay. Within sales builds a lot of trust and builds a lot of loyalty. So the cool thing about this is that all of these kind of intertwine together, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. So let's first talk about why we need to understand sales. Okay. So sometimes people will think, I'm starting a business, but like somebody else can really figure out that sales process for me, or I don't need to understand that piece of my business. So the truth is sales is actually a really, really, really big piece of what you want to understand and what you need to understand for a few different reasons. So understanding sales will actually allow for us to really anticipate what our customers need, what they want, what is required of them to be our customer. Yeah. And then in turn, that puts us in a position where our product and our service solves their problem, solves a problem that they might have, an issue that they might have, or a need that they might have as well from our customers. So sales is so important because it allows us to anticipate where our customers are at, and then it allows us to fill a gap, right? So sales fills that gap. Your product, your service, whatever it is, sales is actually filling that to go in there. So it is required. It's a requirement of us, or it should be, as business owners, to really understand how this works. Okay, so why do we need to be good at it? We talked about why we need to understand it. Why do we need to be good at sales? We mostly need to focus on really understanding and then being passionate about our product and service. So it's not necessarily that you have to be a master salesperson and that's what's going to catapult your business forward. It's actually not that at all. What needs to happen within sales, though, is that you need to be knowledgeable and passionate about whatever product or service you are selling. So you have to be good at that. Does that make sense? So if I have a passion for what I do, the cool thing is that it doesn't end up being salesy when I talk about it. So raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. For example, when we have a passion about something that we love, or our business or whatever it might be, raise your hand if you understand when I say, when you talk about something that you love, it's not like sales. Have you guys heard that before? Okay, so it doesn't feel like a sales process. Instead, it's going to feel like a sharing process because you're sharing something that you really, really appreciate and love. So, for example, if I am, right, like if you're selling something that you don't love, that you don't really care about, it could be anything. It could be, let's just talk about my brick and mortar business for a second. So if I'm selling a studio package, or if I'm selling these classes, and I have zero interest in it, and I have zero interest in, what we stand for, like what the brand is, et cetera, it's going to be really hard for me to sell a class, because people are going to feel that. People are going to feel that I don't have passion for what it is that I'm doing. Does that make sense? Versus if people can feel that I just am in love with what I'm doing, I'm a believer in the brand, I'm knowledgeable about it, people are going to really be able to see my heart. And the sales process, my sharing process, is going to be a lot more effective within what it is that I'm doing. Okay. So let's talk about what else we should try to focus on when it comes to sales. So we talked about why we need sales. We talked about why we need to understand sales. We talked about why we need to be good at sales. Let's talk about some things that we really need to focus on when it comes to sales. So there's 4 things I want you to think about of when you're focusing on sales. Okay, the first thing is trust. Trust is a huge thing when it comes to sales. This sales is how we actually build trust. So when we focus on understanding our product, when we focus on having that passion for what it is that we are doing, trust is automatically going to be there. So like I said before, the cool thing is all this is going to intertwine together, and it's all going to really match like an intertwined process versus us thinking like, here are all the steps to a sales process, right? So if you can think of it more of like a mixing bowl that you're mixing together, and there's these pieces of sales, but when you mix together things, it becomes more of a sharing process, and it becomes more of like a together process versus handing someone an outline and following these outlines, and then the return is a sale. Okay, so I want you to kind of like shift that mindset a little bit, and possibly think of that imagery or another like set of imagery that you can kind of think of that would resonate with you on what that looks like and what your sales process or what that sales like feel experience can actually be for you. Okay, so trust. We build trust with our customers by, again, being knowledgeable about what we do. And all of us have been there. All of us have been in a situation where it's like there's nothing worse, in a purchasing process when you are talking to somebody that knows nothing about what they're doing. Okay, like it just doesn't work, right? It just does not work. If I'm trying to go buy a car and this person knows nothing about the car, the chances are going to be slim to none that I am actually going to purchase this car, because I'm coming up to this person to look for trust. And part of that trust is going to be that this person is knowledgeable about what it is I'm looking at. So trust and knowledge really go hand in hand here. If there's no knowledge there, what that tells me as a customer is that this person is looking at the price tag of the item I am purchasing, and all they want is my money. What they care about is what is in my pocket versus the experience that I'm going to have with a product or service and how that is actually going to serve me. If someone's very knowledgeable about the product that they're selling or the service that they're selling, right, chances are I'm going to really then understand how that product or service is going to serve me. So that is the cool thing about knowledge, is that knowledge is power, and power builds that trust within the knowledge and kind of like that cycle of kind of like what we're looking for. Okay. The second thing is confidence. So you do need to fake it till you make it. We've all heard that, but you do also need to have that knowledge to back it while you're faking it till you're making it. Okay, you've got to have some sort of foundation, and solely because not only will that build trust, but you also need confidence. So if I'm going back to that, like going back to if I'm selling a course online, if I'm selling a 6-week course online all about how to get your business to $500,000, okay? And that's what I'm doing, but I have actually never gone through that process. I have not owned a business. What's the level of confidence that I'm probably going to have to sell that course? What's the level of confidence I'm even going to have to reach out to you and share with you what my course is about, based on the fact that I probably am not going to have confidence about it. Does that make sense? I'm probably not going to have confidence about it because I don't know anything about it. So that confidence and the confidence and knowledge, along with the power and trust, like all that kind of cycles through together. So knowledge is power. Again, knowledge is that power, and knowledge creates confidence. Confidence also creates and rolls through with knowledge, which creates trust with your customer, which is something you desperately need in order to sell a product, okay, or service. Okay, the third thing is effective communication. So what you say, how you say it, how your words are delivered, all of that is so important. Effective communication is also about knowing your audience. So not this month, but what month is it? It's June. Okay, so in July, I'm actually going to be doing a training for you guys all about personality traits. And it's something I actually learned a really long time ago that I'm really excited to share with you. But it talks about how to understand how to effectively communicate with somebody based on the 4 different types of personalities. Okay. Some people know it as like colors, or I think there's like other names since I've learned it that people have gone through, but it helps you understand your audience, which then allows you to really understand how to effectively communicate to them. So those of you that are mamas and have more than one child, you know that or even if you have one child, but if you have more than one child, you know, or chances are, or I'm going to take a wild guess and I'm going to bet that you probably don't do things or speak or communicate the same to both of your children amidst the same situation, right? So like our kids have different personalities, and no different than it's my kid versus my friend's child, or whatever that might be. What works for them, right, or what works for my son, like, might not actually work for somebody else. The way of communication and situationally depending is also different on the way that you're actually going to want to communicate. So we need to assess our situation. We need to assess the person that we are communicating with. Both of those are very, very, very important, and we're gonna really dive into this later on in July when we go through effective ways to communicate with certain personality types. Okay, so effective communication is key. We want to learn what personality and character traits our audience have. So things we are focusing on when it comes to sales, we've talked about trust, we've talked about confidence, we've talked about effective communication, and the fourth one is active listening. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, double the ears that we do a mouth for a reason. Listen, we want to listen more than we speak. This is going to help your customers feel appreciated. It's going to help them feel supported, important, understood, respected, which in turn, are you seeing how everything is connected? Which in turn is also going to drive our sales numbers up, which is ultimately what we are after. Okay. So kind of based on this, as we talk about, why we need sales, why do we need to understand sales? Like, why is this sales so important? Drop something in the comments for me and tell me where you're at with sales. Like, are you feeling really confident with your sales? You're just like killing it and it's awesome? Are you just kind of like, gosh, I'm just like wondering about this process? Anything that you might be like super proud of when it comes to that, and anything that you might kind of be struggling with a little bit, that it's like you're just not quite understanding what's happening. So here's a couple other things about sales. When we talk about sales, the way that we go through this experience, I'm refraining from saying the word process right now because we talked about these things and we're talking about an experience. The way that we are going through these experiences really relates to us as a business owner, okay, as the seller. So the way that we do this shows our character. If I am pushy to sell you something, if I lie when I sell you something, any of those things, that shows you enough about my character that if somebody else asked you about me, you would know what to say, because you would say my character is aggressive, or I am a liar, or whatever it might be, right? If your experience with me through sales and through purchasing my service that I have to offer was gentle, was kind, you felt extremely informed through the process, through the experience as you were learning about my brand and my company, and your decision at the end of that is to come and try out my service, and that's the acceptance of the ending part of our sales process with each other. And somebody asks you about me, you're going to be able to tell them a little bit more of my character, saying, wow, she was knowledgeable, she was gentle, she heard what my situation was, right? I really trusted her. She was very confident in what she was telling me and what she was selling to me. So all of these things really, really wrap into who we are as a person. They also really wrap into our brand. Okay. So if you have other people that are selling your service or helping you sell a product, you want to make sure that they line up with or equal that same process and experience that you are giving. Okay. So with our service, with the service of my brick and mortar business, we are not pushy when it comes to that sales process. It's a very, with what we do, what we do in our culture is very vulnerable. and you can't push somebody into vulnerability. You know what I mean? So that process of that becomes very, we listen a lot. We share stories a lot. We share experiences a lot. If this person is asking me about my service and they've gone through a very similar experience as maybe my staff member over here, I will connect them to be able to share an experience together, which gives our customer a chance that they have been heard, understood. They see how our service actually can help them. And then they make that decision on their own to purchase our service and then show up and come to our classes. Does that make sense? So again, thinking of it instead of just really focusing on that outline of like, and here's my 30-second commercial, and here's my this, and all of those things are very important. Okay. I used to work for a very large company, and then a little bit of a smaller company that was family owned, in the sales department. Okay. That's what I used to do, excuse me, like for a living. And I was in the top rank of salespeople there. I did very, very well. So those processes and certain things regarding sales are really, really important. Today, we're really talking about generically what that word really means as a whole and what it looks like for your brand, for you as a character, and a little bit more on like a small business scale. Maybe even like network marketing if you're doing that. Possibly if you're a mom making really great products and you're at some like a local fair selling your products. So a little bit more on that scale of like, what does that look like as an experience instead of kind of that corporate process, right? So again, sales is a big thing. Sales is extremely important in what we do. It drives our business, which is what we're all looking for. It shares with people what our brand is like. It raises our numbers, like our sales numbers, which is what we're all after. It gives us money, right? Because we can't make money if we don't make sales. And then, eventually it really gets us to the point where we have the freedom, time, the ability to do things that we want to do, right? So money equals time, time is freedom, all of that is kind of comes back around sales. So let's take a look at sales as all these ingredients and all these things we kind of want to think about, stirring it together and really thinking about this as more of an experience that we can actually share with somebody as we're going through that. So like if you can imagine a bowl, put our brand in there, we put our character traits in there, we put our goals in there, we put our business name in there, we put how it can help people in there. So we put all these things, we're mixing it all together, and we're able to share that experience with our customers. Okay. So I could talk about sales forever. Please ask me any questions that you might have, and stay tuned for next week as I go through a little bit more information on some other really great stuff. Join me on Thursdays every 8 p.m. in our Life Redesigned group, where we grow through what we go through. I cannot wait to connect with you this month. We have so much amazing stuff going on. Lastly, those of you that are going to be around next week, I would love to invite you to a really special and cool thing that we're doing. I'm helping co-host. It's a summer beach bash. We're doing live videos every single night. It's all on social media, so you can do it straight from your bed if you want to, or at your couch or wherever you're at. But it's a summer beach bash. We're going to be doing giveaways, talking about really awesome summer recipes, smoothies, healthy snacks, all that really great stuff. And like I said, we're doing giveaways. It's going to be super fun. So if there's any part of you that is feeling like, oh my goodness, I'm kind of stuck in a rut, or I'm kind of feeling blah, or like it's summer and I'm not ready, just raise your hand in the comments below or type in me, and I'll make sure to grab you the link to get into the group. We're going to do it all live in a group that I'm co-hosting in. I'm super excited about it. So I hope to see you there. Hope that this helped you with some sales goals that you might have this year, and can't wait to talk to you a little bit more to expand on this as well. So, all right, y'all, we'll see you later.